welcome to the webinar specifically arranged for you all. We at Birla Global University hope that you all are fine and safe. Now let's make the best of the lockdown and use the time to think something productive. BGU has brought in a session for you to guide you with what to do about lockdown and aftermath. I have the privilege to introduce to you the speaker of the session, Professor Dr. Prof.P.Nayak. He is the Dean, Birla School of Management, Birla Global University, Bhubaneswar. Dr. Nayak is an ardent professor in human resource management, an academic administrator, a corporate trainer, and a management consultant. He has about 31 years of work experience in India and overseas, including 19 years in leadership positions like Dean and Director at Vimtech Bhubaneswar, Amity University Noida, KEET University Bhubaneswar, and ITS Institute of Management, Greater Noida. Now, Dr. Nayak will speak to you. When he is talking, you can type your questions and those questions will be addressed to in the question answer session. Have a good session. Over to Dr. Nayak.
Thank you, Professor Meher. Good evening, friends. First of all, I must thank all the participants. I would like to just briefly tell you how I am going to deal with this particular subject in 1 hour time. First, I will spend few minutes just to discuss why we should have a discussion on this particular topic of managing stress of millennials in COVID-19 pandemic situation. And then how to recognize that they have the stress. And then I would also try to suggest some mechanism to cope with stress at the end. Basically, I have done a research in this month on the subject of millennials' stress condition, particularly the mental health and well-being. I have read a few research studies done in the US by very reputed agencies like Gallup. The main purpose of this particular webinar is to understand what are the feelings of millennials, but it doesn't mean that only those people will be attending this program. Their parents, even their younger brothers and sisters, can also participate in this discussion. The main objective is to understand the feeling, the mental health condition of the millennials, and then suggest some measures and coping mechanism to them. And then what is stress? It is a dynamic condition in which an individual is confronted with opportunity, constraint, and demand. I think the COVID-19 pandemic situation has created all these three kind of stresses. But before I go into deep into the subject, I would like to understand your feeling and to some extent the kind of mental health. So you should be honest enough to click on the any one of the options. So result is maximum people are unproductive, feeling unproductive. 28% people are lonely, feeling lonely. 19% people are feeling irritated or frustrated. 13% people are depressed. 9% are feeling angry and like this. Okay, so let me share with you some of the research findings. 3-4 research studies have already been done on the mental health of people and especially on millennials. So what are the findings? I think many of you might be knowing the very well-known research agency Gallup did a survey in April 2020, and they found that mental health of people has deteriorated due to stress in the COVID-19 pandemic situation. I have given the references below, and you may be, if you need, I can send you the details. It is available on Google also. So 60% of the people in America are showing rising trends of stress. Another study by Kessinger Family Foundation study in this month only, 45% of Americans felt COVID-19 is harming their mental health. And 19% of them have a serious impact of stress. Another study by a professor of happiness, very popular professor of Yale, Dr. Laurie Santos, recently on 22nd April 2020, published a paper and which says that quarantining has resulted in symptoms of depression for some people. So it shows that from this, there is a need for boosting the well-being of people by helping them cope with the stressful situation. It's a study done by Blue Cross Blue Shield Association, a very well-known health association in the US, and found out that there are many cases of depression among millennials, and the cases are increasing by 47%, which is more than the stress in other age groups. Another factor for which I'm particularly interested in millennials, because out of the total population age groups, this particular age group faces a problem, more stress problem, because of hormonal changes in this age. Many of you might be knowing that there are stress hormones in our body that called adrenaline and cortisols. These hormones are passed on to bloodstream on many occasions. And it happens more, frequently changes in the blood of millennials. Therefore, it's a matter of concern. Millennials are basically who are, very most anxious generation, who are called Gen Y or I generation. They share about quarter of world's population, so we should be very much concerned about them. Another study done by Cambridge University also showed that anger has been linked to the low supply of serotonin, which is called happiness chemical or happiness hormone, which is passed on to, it is a chemical passed on to the brain, and for which, basically we feel happy or anger when it is not supplied in adequate quantity. So this leads to inappropriate, rude, or impatient behavior. So what is the condition in India? Recently, I started this research, and so far I have collected data from 74 participants, respondents from different parts of India. They are basically students of undergrad and postgrad courses. And I found, which I am showing you in the presentation, there are 60% of people are happy, 77% of people are feeling lonely, and 65% are irritated or frustrated, and 78% are depressed, 75% are angry, and 81% are unproductive. So it gives us a feeling that there is a region behind that talking about this subject. What is the condition in India? Look at some of the cases. In India, you might have heard in some news or that 23 years old student from Punjab was halfway through completing the formalities for quarantine admission when he landed up in IGI airport in Delhi from Sydney. And after this kind of formalities for quarantine, he took a very extreme step and suicided. Another case in South Delhi, the 30 years old man started showing some worrying behavior and changes when he came to know that his brother was found infected by coronavirus, and he remained confined to his room for 2 days and suddenly exited from the family and WhatsApp groups and started behaving very indifferently. And also he put all the family members in the blacklist in all contacts. Another case I can cite on, I think you might have also heard it about this case. On the night of March 19, panic gripped in Delhi Safdarjung Hospital when a person suspected to have contracted COVID-19, suicided by jumping from the 7th floor. I am not going to tell you many cases because it will stress you. I just wanted to tell you that how COVID-19 has created more stress among the people in India and elsewhere in the world. Many people who are not accustomed to doing certain things, they are doing now, like buying some grocery items, maintaining social distance, and so on and so forth. Many of you might be doing some work at home, which you have never done before. Many young people are fighting, their feelings. and also struggling for mental health. I just discussed about some of the research findings. I can just summarize what are the COVID-19 stressors before I go into how to recognize them, how to manage them. Loneliness and social isolation, which all of you know because of prolonged lockdown, frequent news of increasing number of positive cases. I think many of us are watching television, I think more than 5 hours just knowing about the conditions in the country. I think it is also creating stress in our mind. The fear of getting infected is one another reason. Sudden closure of the colleges and offices are also creating problem for all of us, particularly the working people, students, teachers. So they are also not having their routine work. Social distancing is also not experienced before, therefore it is also creating a kind of stressful situation. Non-availability of entertainment facilities, as all of us will agree. Hostile living condition. Many people, even those who are wage earners, daily wage earners, they are also stuck up in many places, in many states, many places where they don't have proper living conditions. So they are also stressed. Fear of losing job is also one of the uh, cases. Uncertain future job market is also creating problem. So there is a pandemic panic. There are also financial issues like stock market volatility, huge loss in the mutual fund, etc. So summarily, all these multiple factors are creating the stress, and it is emerging as a major problem for many people, especially among millennials. Now I should come to some kind of discussion. One of the most important things to deal with the stress is to be able to recognize it. How to recognize? What are the signs and symptoms of stress? It can be discussed in two forms. One is short term, another is long term. The short term symptoms are breathing quickness. I think somebody who is breathing very fast, mouth gets dry, muscles tighten, and heartbeat increases. Some of the longer term symptoms are insomnia, which is basically sleeplessness, and sometimes people wake up frequently at night, and chest pain, nausea, dizziness, difficulty in making decision, inability to relax, feeling overwhelmed, feeling undervalued, constipation, and also decreased sex drive. What are the effects of stress? When you have stress, you either fight or you flight. People go into the regression mode or aggression mode. Many people may try to manage by fantasy or they resign from this. I would not go into the details of these models of stress, but I would just tell you that there are potential sources of stress every time. And currently, in the environmental factor, basically this calamity is the environmental factor, and natural calamity and epidemic is also causing this. But there are organizational factor, there are individual factor like family problems, economic problem, etc., which can also lead to kind of stress, which can be seen in physiological symptoms, psychological symptoms, and behavioral symptoms. In the physiological symptoms, basically high cholesterol, rapid weight gain, hypertension, heart disease, chronic headaches, and hyperacidity, chronic kind of backaches are also symptoms of stress. The psychological symptoms include the panic attack, the anxiety, the depression, the decrease in the job satisfaction, the mood swings, the phobias, and sleep disorders. The behavioral symptoms are stress has got a tremendous impact on productivity, absenteeism, and turnover. So at this moment, let us now understand whether stress is always bad or stress is also useful. I can just, in brief, I can tell you that neither the zero stress is good nor high stress is good. We need moderate stress to be best of at our performance level. So let me now go to the second pole. Because I have spoken for a few minutes, I think by now we have understood how to recognize it, what are the symptoms, what are the signs of stress. Let us understand how we are engaging ourselves in this particular lockdown situation. Poll 2. Please be honest. Looking at the structure of the polls, you have to just click one. Poll result is visible to all of you. 36% reading books. It's good. I think 31% engaging through social media and 36% reading books and interesting stories. This shows interesting result, I think, to me. Thank you very much for your participation. So it gave me a lot of food for thought. So let us now move to the findings of my research. People in different parts of India, particularly the younger people, how do they spend time? Per day, average, 71.6% of them spend about less than 3 hours in watching TV, news and other programs, and 52.7% highest if you look at this, and if you combine the both, it will be around 77% people are engaged in social media, maximum up to 5 hours they are spending. Helping family members and household activities like cleaning and cooking, gardening, etc. 54% of people are spending about 1 hour, where 39% people are helping in 2 hours or so, and so forth. 81% people are spending over books to that, but our duration is less. Meditation, again, people are spending less than 1 hour. 70% of people are spending on exercises and meditation. And for sleeping, I think it's good that people are sleeping well, 7 hours or more. 48.6% of the people are sleeping about 7 hours, and others are sleeping more than that. Social welfare activities like distributing food to the people on the street or those who are in touch with them and their neighborhood. 83.8% of the people are spending about 1 hour in this kind of activities, and 74% of the people are engaged in creative work, which you said in your poll also were doing the highest. So this is how the research is also saying how people are engaging themselves during this pandemic period. So now we'll spend the rest of the time in understanding how to manage our well-being during and after COVID-19. And before that, I would also like to know what you are thinking that you are doing, if at all you have stress. I would like to have another poll to understand you. You will be having few seconds to respond to the queries. Majority of you are engaged in creative work. That's very good. Professor Snigdha and Professor Bala are with me, and they are helping me in compiling the questions that you might have posed till now.
So the first question is from Samchun Horana. How can we minimize the career-related stress of the students during the COVID-19 pandemic situation?
Right. Okay, let me hear the questions, because I am going to suggest about 25 measures. I think there I will cover these questions one by one. It will take time. Let me know what are the questions asked so far.
Questions so far are mostly is talking about if we are undergoing stress, then how we can overcome this. Mostly,
yes,
the questions are related to this.
Yeah, so employment related, and how to, in general, if you have stress, how to overcome. Yes. So I am keeping in my mind so that I can relate when I'll be discussing now on this. Let me first share what was the finding of research, particularly young people. What are the coping mechanisms they are trying to do to deal with this kind of problem? Almost all these mechanisms are used: meditation, physical exercise, engaging in creative work, stay connected with loved ones, which is the highest one. Particularly, this COVID has taught us how to get connected with people in our, family more, and also with those people who were our old friends. So this is also something which is good for stress management. Spending quality time with the family members and help them. Watching TV programs is television is not good if all of us are really sticking to the only COVID or pandemic news all the time, it will be very depressing. The kind of news the various channels are bringing to us. Many of the news items are all negative, and it will put us into the kind of a stressful situation. It is not going to help us. So we can watch only once or twice in a day the good news. So good time management is very important. I think people have said this. Sleep well is very important, which many of you are doing, and worship and prayer is another, and studying and preparing for exams, reading books and articles. So these are also for students. As they are the students, they have said, if we are engaged ourselves in this kind of work, we can also manage stress. So now let me answer to the question of general, like how to overcome the stress. So quickly, as you all of you know, that meditation is the most important kind of exercise or the activity which will relieve us from stress. All of us should do at least half an hour of meditation in the morning. Morning hour is good for meditation. And if you want some kind of exercises, breathing exercises, all of us might be knowing, you can watch some videos available on YouTube, or then you should go for it. Exercise, yoga is very important. It will help us in weight loss, because in this kind of situation, we all are confined to our family. We are not going out, so our physical activity is limited. Therefore, we have to do some exercises inside our residence and gain more energy, and it will help us a better balance in our mental as well as physical balance, more strength and better immunity it will give, which is required for fighting against the COVID-19. Engage in creative work is another stress reliever. We must spend time in creative work, even if we have never attempted something like playing guitar or kind of any other kind of art or kind of painting. We must be doing that. Stay connected with the social support must also be increased, and be grateful, because nowadays we have seen police people, doctors, social workers, and many government officials are doing a different kind of job, which we have never seen. We have a different opinion about them. Let us feel grateful, and let us also thank them and help them and convey our good words to them. Therefore, the maintaining healthy diet is very, very important. Distract ourselves from the stressors. So spend time with the loved ones. It's very important. Try to stick to your old routine. You should always try to make best use of today. Don't think much about the future at this moment, because it will unnecessarily create stress in you. And introspect what your good thoughts and feelings, and then try to pen down some of the things which you think that it will be appropriate. Do not feel imprisoned. Sometimes you are feeling that you are always inside the home. No, even if there is a space, like go to your balcony, or you go to rooftop, and then you try to exercise, do some exercise, or talk to your brothers and sisters or parents, and spend time on that. Focus on only on things on what you can control. So limit watching news. As I said, TV news we should not watch frequently. We should get updation from our relations, family members. They might be watching once or twice in a day will be enough. Watching always the news about COVID will unnecessarily create depression in our mind. So time management is very important. Do not break your routine work. Many people they think that we have got the lockdown, so let us sleep 12 hours, 10 hours, whatever time we have, let us sleep. No, we must follow our old routine. Even at home also, we must get up early. Even if we dress, we should not even change our pajama. We must change our dresses. We should not wear one dress for 10 days, 5 days, because we are inside our resident home. So we are not going out. So we have to get organized. That is, sleep well is important. And if at all you have any problem, serious problem, must consult a professional and take vitamin C and vitamin B. Limit the screen time. watching, all the time mobile screen. It is also very stressful. Do not watch, all the time videos or something. You should spend for social media and connecting with the family members or others who are outside your family. You must do that. Check on others, discuss your feelings, and listen to others. Seeking professional help is necessary. I'll be giving you a list of consultants who are also available online to provide any kind of support free of cost or with at a lesser cost. Read every day. There is a University of Sussex study which says that it reduces stress by 60%. So one should always read good books, interesting books. Even if many of us have not read the books which we have purchased and kept in our shelf. So this is the time that we should do that. Cinema therapy is very, very important. There are many important, very interesting cinema movies are there. Please watch, and that will also relieve you of any stress that you have. Recharge your brain. We have a right brain and left brain. Please try to recharge by your left brain is basically technical brain, and the right brain is a creative brain. We must do both kind of work to recharge our brain and play chess, play puzzles, do whatever you like, music, art, to recharge our right brain. Explore your career options. Here I would like to answer the questions of last by Professor Marna. See, this is the right time. The students who are worried about their career, there are many webinars, many kind of portals, the speakers, career consultants are speaking online. They should have the opportunities, avail of the opportunities. They should spend time listening to them, because the future is uncertain. It doesn't mean that it will not create opportunity for them. Jobs that are currently available may not be available tomorrow, but there will be certainly new jobs. So they should get acquainted with those kind of options. So youngsters, you should not get disheartened. You must update yourself, listen to those people, experts who are doing research on this and trying to give you some projections and the future predictions that they have. Try to go by that, but don't brood about what is going to happen. Nothing is going to happen wrong to you. So something is positive waiting for you. Only thing is that you have to change yourself, change your mindset. You have to change yourself to update yourself to catch up with the future. So thank you very much.